Hello and welcome to Unit 3, Part 4 in the ITAM Foundation Certification Training course. Unit 3 is related to the software asset management. Part 4 is particularly about the processes related to Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 and the potential problems with SAM or in SAM, faced by SAM. This picture here shows us the processes at Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. The Tier 1 processes are marked with the number 1, the management of change, core data management, license management, and security management. The Tier 3 processes are the relationship and contract management, financial management, service level management, and the risk and other management. Together, Tier 1 and Tier 3 make up the functional management process group. These are also known as the cross-cutting processes. All these 7 cross-cutting processes are applicable to the 7 life cycle stages, which are shown under the life cycle management processes and which make up the Tier 2 of the tiered process framework. These are related to specification, acquisition, development, release, deployment, operation, and retirement, which means any of the processes from the upper section may be applicable to the stages in the below section. The stages of the life cycle that is in the below section. Together, we see all the Tier 1, 2, and the Tier 3 processes. These are the ITAM process areas, which are also applicable to SAM. Above this Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 processes, you might recollect that we had the ITAM tier framework process, which has to do with things such as communications. And then we had above that tiered framework process, we had the ITAM organizational processes at the topmost level, such as the policies related processes. Tier 1 is about trustworthy data, Tier 2 is about lifecycle integration, and Tier 3 is about optimization. And that is shown in this picture clearly. This picture will be discussed a bit more shortly. But here in brief, we see the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 processes shown with the 3 vertical bars, which make up the IT asset lifecycle management process and the functional management processes. Tier 1 is about having trustworthy data. Achieving this tier means knowing what you have so that you can manage it. This includes having reasonable assurance about license compliance. Tier 2 is about lifecycle integration. Achieving this means greater efficiency and cost effectiveness throughout the IT asset lifecycle. Tier 3 means optimization. Achieving this tier means greater efficiency and effectiveness through focus on cross-cutting functional management process areas. We'll get more clarity on these tiers soon. Firstly, we take a look at the ISO 19770-1 implements SAM in a tiered manner as per published standards using a top-down approach. You might recollect ISO Tier 1 is about the trustworthy data, knowing what you have so that you can manage it. ISO Tier 2 is about practical management, which is about improving the management controls. And Tier 3 is about operational integration, which is about improving efficiency and effectiveness. ISO also has Tier 4, which is full ISO SAM compliance or the best in class. Therefore, ITAM organization also has similar approach, but with 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the same, which is trustworthy data. Tier 2 is like ISO Tier 3, which is operational integration to improve the efficiency and effectiveness, but it is named as lifecycle integration tier and highlights the cost focus as well. Tier 3 of the itam.org, which is much more efficiency and effectiveness with SAM, is similar to the ISO Tier 3, which is again the operational integration that I mentioned earlier to improve the efficiency and effectiveness, but it is named optimization tier due to the need to achieve additional functional management processes. We will get to this clearly in a subsequent slide in this section or chapter. Then, how do we implement these processes? First of all, implement the SAM organizational framework processes, then the SAM tier framework process. The organizational processes are the management responsibility, policies and procedures, roles and responsibilities, planning item with a focus on implementation, the item monitoring and review for continual improvement, the item continuity and availability management, the item corporate governance management. The SAM tier framework processes come next to be implemented, which facilitate the running of the 3 tiers. And this happens through the communication process, competence, awareness and training processes, and item planning processes, but this time with a focus on the business case, risk assessment, gap analysis, scope and planning. After these, only the tiers can be implemented, meaning the 3 tiers can be implemented. You will find a picture of all this in Unit 1. Then after first the SAM organization framework processes are implemented, then the SAM tier framework processes are implemented, then only develop and implement the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 using tier specific processes. Note that the tier 1 has to be done first, followed by tier 2, and then only tier 3. Again, note that these 3-tier processes can be done only after the SAM tier framework processes are implemented, which can be done only after the SAM organizational processes are implemented.